The full moon in Taurus on the 5th of November is coming for your comfort zone. Sometimes the scariest things in life can be the things that they lead to your biggest transformation. That could be putting out that video that you feel really uncomfortable and it's the video that ends up blowing up your channel. Or maybe it's that sales conversation that you have to have that ends up getting you some sort of life-changing sort of money. Or maybe it's that conversation you've been avoiding with your partner that ends up being the one that makes you going from a struggling relationship to a tight relationship. In this video, I'm going to be breaking down this full moon for the 12 rising signs so that you know where to stop avoiding things and going back to the comfort zone and know where to get a little bit uncomfortable. But first, let's take a look at the sky to get the bigger picture of this full moon. So if you're like, Jay, what is a full moon? Well, the full moon happens around the halfway point of the moon cycle. So this is the Taurus Scorpio moon cycle. If you look back to that new moon in Taurus, which was probably around April, May time, if you look back to then, what was going on in your life? That was the start of the cycle. This is where you were setting intentions, and that might give you a little bit of the vibe that we're going into this full moon. Also, you can look back this time last year and see what sort of things were going on. Where were you maybe holding on to things a little bit tight? That sort of stuff. And see where you were then. A full moon is just an opposition with the moon and the sun. Yeah, the sun is highlighting the parts of us that we don't really like to look at. It's highlighting the things that were once hidden. And now, the full moon, with all that light shining at the moon, we can see these things. So it's like that halfway checkpoint. It's like this is the time where we have to let go of these things, or we have to reconfigure our course. But it's getting to that culmination point where you're like, okay, we need to take action, and the full moon is going to help you see what you need to take action on. This isn't happening in the sign of Taurus, and in this full moon, the moon's going to be at 13 degrees Taurus. That means that the sun is at 13 degrees Scorpio, and it is creating that opposition between the sun and the moon. But also, the sun is illuminating the moon so that you can see those things that weren't hidden. So, what does Taurus mean? Oh, also, I would mention that the second decan of Taurus, which is the 13-degree mark, is in the second decan. That is ruled by the Six of Pentacles. The other side of the spectrum, Scorpio, the second decan of Scorpio, is ruled by the Six of Cups. That gives you the vibe of this full moon, because the Six of Pentacles is all about looking at that balance between giving and receiving. Yeah, where you're giving maybe too much of yourself or not getting the same stuff back, or when you're just sitting there taking it all and not giving much, then that's a balance that this card can show. And I think this is where the Taurus side of things is looking. Is like, where are you sitting there taking these things or doing everything or trying to control everything, and there's no balance here? That's one thing that I would definitely say from this. But Taurus themes are kind of like your comfort, security. They're loyal. They don't like change. They like the sensual pleasures. They're not about rushing in head first. They like to go slow and steady. But one of the big things is that they like things to be predictable, because then it's safe. Yeah, we know. And this is the moon, remember. So it is the moon, so it's your emotions. And it is that you need things to be predictable. You need things to be comfortable to make you feel safe. When you got that, you feel good. So that's one side. On the other side, you've got Scorpio and the sun. This is where you're this is where it's sort of saying to you, okay, this is what you want. Come here. Yeah, come and get it. And it's like that push and pull between staying comfortable and staying safe and knowing the way that things go. And then the other side of the spectrum, you've got like, okay, it's time to uncover the truth. It's time to get to the bottom of this. It's time to start investigating deeper down at the roots. That's what Scorpio is about. Yeah, Scorpio also likes to take calculated risks to get the job done. And that can sometimes, Scorpio as well, it can come across as like obsession, because they like to get right in and drill down, and they obsess over the thing. Now, when you look at the Six of Cups, that's about nostalgia, looking back fondly at the memories of the past, looking back at childhood maybe even. And I think with this full moon, it's saying like, look back at the way things used to be before you were wearing the armor, before you'd got all the wounds, before you'd got all the trauma. What changed? Where are you hiding these things that you've maybe you need to step back into? And it's not about just getting stuck in the past. That would be maybe getting stuck, like the obsessing on the past, like that negative Scorpio trait. It's about like, okay, how can we integrate this and bring it to where we are now with our evolution? I think one of the things also to mention with this full moon is that we have a loose Pluto square. Pluto is in Aquarius, which is making a square to Scorpio and making a square to Taurus. So it does give us this, it is very loose. Pluto's at 2 degrees, the full moon's at 13 degrees, so it is a very, very loose square. But I do think it's important because it is a square and it can sometimes feel tension. And with Pluto and Scorpio, they're very, very. Pluto is known as the modern ruler of Scorpio. So saying that, he's kind of in on this. Yeah. And I think that it's like, okay, where do we need to break down things, break down patterns, break down perspectives, break down comfort, get that little bit uncomfortable to let us have that rebirth moment. Yeah. What Pluto is all about is death and rebirth, killing that old part of you so that you can rebuild that new part. But that means that you have to get the uncomfortable bit of the breakdown first. And I think that that's really, really important with him being in that square. That shows me that there's that tension point there where Pluto's like, okay, you need to like cut this crap out and cut this out and do this and do that. And you're like, it's a little bit too much. There's that tension. Yeah. So that's one thing just to keep aware with Pluto down at the bottom in the square. Another thing worth noting about this full moon in Taurus is it's not really connected to this, but you have got to remember that you've got Mars in Sagittarius, who just before the full moon has made a opposition to Uranus in Gemini. It's our action and our drive and our fight and our aggression and our conflict is opposing liberating ourselves, freeing ourselves. It can be a little bit shocking, unpredictable. So I think there's action that needs to be taken here around this full moon that could be a little bit rough. Yeah, it could be a little bit of there's something tight, there's something that you're fighting for that you know you're going to shake the boat a bit, you're going to rock the boat and it's going to rock your foundation a little bit. And it is that little bit unpredictable energy. Another thing to mention is Mercury's in Sagittarius. He's going to be coming up to a conjunction with Mars. He's also in shadow to go retrograde, which means that in a few weeks he'll go retrograde, he'll go back the way. I think the conjunction happens once he's retrograde, the first conjunction. He'll go back into Scorpio, move forward back into Sagittarius, and then conjunct Mars again, and off he goes, yeah? When he's a little bit faster. But right now he's slow, he's sluggish. He's looking back at things and trying to think about things that he's done before, yeah? Things are slowing down. He's still got that forward momentum. He's in Sagittarius, so he could still be a little bit blunt. He could still be a little bit like bold, fiery, that sort of a stuff. But he is starting to slow down. That opposition to Uranus and Mars, that's like fireworks, electrical shocks, these sort of things. It's that kind of an energy. And it's fighting for something, or really there's action or drive, or you need that action and drive for something that might feel that little bit uncomfortable, but is going to liberate yourself. It is going to free yourself from the chains. And I think that you should definitely keep this in mind, because I think whatever this full moon is asking you to do, the full moon in Taurus, whatever it's asking you to do is to look at, okay, am I playing it safe here? Am I retreating to my comfort zone rather than taking that fight, putting myself first? Remember, Scorpio energy is calculated risk. On the shadow side, it could look like obsession, but it's getting focused to move, and it's being real, and it's being true and authentic. It's bringing you that transformation. You've got that supportive energy with the sun. It's time to break free from this old pattern now. Scorpio's like, transform. Come on, I'm here, I'm helping. You need to work through these shadows, mate, but we'll do it. Yeah? And that's kind of the energy I feel like, that you're going to have to work through these shadows with this full moon. And I think there's really something here that you need to liberate yourself. I think it could be something with mental, it could be scattered stuff, because Uranus and Gemini is all over the place. And another thing to really pay attention to here as well is that Uranus is just about to move into Taurus. Again, he's about to go retrograde back into Taurus. He's given us our little preview of Gemini. So that's his last bit before he moves back in, and then we start to look over the Taurus themes again. But I do think that that's something. He's just at the 0 degrees mark of Gemini. It's pure Gemini energy at this point. that's scattered, curious, always on the go, wanting to move, active mind, communication, talking. I'm a Gemini, I don't shut up. Yeah, I run all the time, even when there's nobody about. For you around this full moon, look at what is that story, yeah, that you need to, what do you need to free yourself from? Because that's what your Uranus wants. What do you need to free yourself from? And what action could you take? Or what do you need to fight against or fight for to break that chain, yeah, that Uranus wants you to free yourself from? And I think with a lot of things going on recently, with a lot of the transits, like especially with Saturn and Pisces, this is the last thing that's going to be here. Saturn wants to close that chapter. Things are coming to an end in that point. And I think one of the things that you have to pick up from the lessons of Saturn and Pisces is that we need acceptance. We need to accept that sometimes that's just the way it is. These are just their faults, and that's okay. We just have to be okay with that. And it doesn't mean you become stagnant. You still move forward, but you just become, okay, I'm maybe not there yet, but I'm on the journey. I need to be a little bit uncomfortable to get comfortable. And I think that that's one thing that this full moon's really going to help you with, especially if you have been going through the ringer with Saturn and Pisces, like myself. If you've been in that situation, then you maybe be feeling like, okay, I need to have a little bit more acceptance here. I need to be okay with where I am. I need to be okay and accept the faults that I've got. And also with that, Saturn and Pisces, another lesson that he wants you to learn is compassion. And that's self-compassion. To say to yourself that, okay, it is okay. We've got this. Like, things are going to be okay. Right now, it might feel a little bit uncomfortable, but at the end of the day, we're going to be okay. Okay, this isn't about Saturn and Pisces. I just thought I'd throw them little bits in because I kind of think it all ties in together. There's change that needs to be had. And to really get through change, it comes with that little bit of discomfort. It's like if you go to the gym and you're like putting your pan in, you're like, I feel absolutely crap. I don't want to do that again. And then after it, you come out and you're feeling great and you're like, oh, I can't wait to go back again. The next day comes around, you're like, oh, I know it's going to be crap. I know I'm going to feel this. Blah, blah, blah. And then you do it again and then you're like, wait, it's brilliant. Before you know it, you start to get into that and it just becomes easier. But if you never accepted that that was just the way it's going to feel crap at first, and you weren't kind and compassionate to yourself, then you would never get the bit where it becomes easy. Now let's get into the 12 sign reading. First of all, this is for your rising sign. It is going to be the most accurate there because I use whole sign houses, which is based on where your rising sign, that becomes your first house, and then it works around from there. So I'm basing this on that system. If you use something like Placidus, these houses might not match up the same as what they do, what I say. So, but just remember that I'm using whole sign and this is for your rising sign, yeah? You can watch for your sun, you can watch for your moon. That will give you a bigger picture of what is going on and help you tie these little bits together as well. But if you just want to watch for your rising, just want to watch for your sun, whatever, that's absolutely fine. If you're enjoying this video so far, then I would really appreciate it if you could hit the like button because it just helps this channel grow a little bit more, helps me, and I would be really appreciative. But let's get into the 12 sign readings. Aries, sun, moon, and rising for you. We are coming into your second house with the moon. The sun is sitting in your 8th house, and Pluto will be in your 11th house. Now, what this says to me is I get the feeling whatever you've been going through, whatever the situation is with you, maybe between other people, there could be other people involved here with the 8th house getting highlighted. But with what I'm thinking is going on is that you're maybe trying to do everything yourself, yeah? We know how independent you are, Aries, and I think that that could sometimes be the thing where you're maybe getting stuck wanting to do everything. Use your values, use your finances, use your everything for all of the things. Whereas you need to remember that you're in a partnership with other people, with the collective, with your job, with your employers, with your employees maybe, and they're all there to help you too. And I think with the moon being here is comfortable. If you've got that control over everything and you know that it's what you value, it's what you do, and it's all these things, and you've got that control there, it's comfortable, it's stable, it's predictable. But then on the other side of that, there's that little bit of vulnerability. And there's that little bit of, oh, I don't know if there's other people involved, I don't know how that goes. And the sun is asking you to lean in to these other people, whether that be through collaboration, whether that be investing in something outside of yourself. Yeah. Putting your finances. It's taking calculated risks with Scorpio. Taking calculated risks is something that you share with another person. There can be all these people there to help you, but they don't know that they actually need the help. Yeah, so they don't ask. And that's where you need to maybe take that leading role a little bit and asking for the help and asking for other people to support you. There is that sort of I know that I think there's that feeling that you're starting to see these things of the people that are able to help you. It could also be the way that you're maybe leaning onto something that you're working on in private. Yeah, you're not wanting to share it with other people because maybe you're scared of judgment, or maybe you're scared of losing control of that part. Yeah, like that could maybe like stir up things. Like it means that you have to be a little bit more vulnerable with people closest to you. It could also, with Pluto in your 11th house as well, there could be some things with friends. There could be some things with the groups you're a part of, the things you stand for. There maybe you're, with all this stuff going on, there's something that you're just like, if I do this, they're going to think I'm a bit of a weirdo. They might think, what's he up to? I don't get it. Or what's she up to? I don't get it. Like, and that's okay. Yeah. Because everybody's got their own different things. But I think there's definitely something. Maybe it means that maybe there's a community there that can help support you, but you're like, I just don't want to look at that. I don't want to see that. I can't be bothered with that. I need to just do this. I know this. This is comfortable. It's predictable. I've got this. And that's where the moon is asking you, okay, let's change. Let's bring other people in along for the ride. Aries, that is your full moon in Taurus reading. And I hope you have an awesome week. Next week, we have got the video on Jupiter retrograde. So if you're not subscribed, maybe consider subscribing, and I will see you in that video. Taurus, sun, moon, and rising for you. We are going into your first house. This is your full moon. Yeah, the last time we were at moon stuff with you was at your new moon, just around your birthday. And now we're in the full moon. We're at that sort of halfway checkpoint, like I said. And I think with this is pure Taurus themes. Yeah, it's, are you sticking to what you know? Are you sticking to what is predictable? You know how the land lies if you're able to control everything. Yeah? It's predictable then. It's safe. It's stable. But then on the other side of that is your relationships. And maybe when you're getting so stuck in doing everything yourself and not wanting to change things and not wanting to maybe look at their opinions or whatever, it's creating this opposition. There's this push-pull, and it's stopping you get the depth that you want in relationships. And this isn't always just love relationships, or it could be business, it could be friends, it could be just close one-to-one relationships. And I think if you're always trying to have the control and have this and have that, that this is the way it gets done and don't change it because that's stable, I know how this works, it's predictable. If you've always got that, you're leaving out bits of the relationship that maybe there's a better way of doing it. Yeah. You maybe need to become a little bit more vulnerable and let other people lead in this situation, whatever it is. But the thing is, when you want that true connection and when you want that real and deep relationship, whether that, again, like I said, it's not always love and romance here, Taurus, but when you want that, then you have to let go a little bit. Yeah. Just let go of that comfort and stability just a little bit, and let other people help you bring more comfort and stability. It does mean that you are going to have to see different perspectives here, and you might find a better way of doing the damn thing. And I think there is something with the 10th house with Pluto. Yeah. Pluto sitting in your 10th house, which is all about your career, your public recognition. And I think if you maybe been thinking about doing something at work or changing something at work, or you want to take more of a leading role at work or doing something, but there's just that's outside of your comfort zone for a start, which is creating tension with your moon, your emotions. And then it's also creating tension within your relationships. Or maybe you're not seeing the relationships that can actually help you decide what to do with what's going on in your career. That is definitely something that you could pull together with this as well. It could be that you're scared of that opportunity as well. That you know that is, or you're scared of how you get that opportunity. Or maybe it's time to break free from a job and go on your own 2 feet, Taurus. And then that's scaring the hell out of you because you're like, that's going to be really unpredictable and I don't get it. And somebody's had that experience maybe in the past and they're like, it could help you, but you're not willing to look at it. But now it's going to be highlighted to you with the full moon. And I think that that's something for you to lean into. Is there's look at deepening these relationships. Look at seeing the truth within these relationships. See the authenticity between these relationships that you could lean into around this time. Taurus, this is your full moon reading. If you've enjoyed this video, then please consider giving it a like. Like I said at the intro, it does really help this video get out to more people, and it helps me as well, so I would really appreciate it. But I will see you in the next video. Gemini, Sun, Moon and Rising, for you, we are coming into your 12th house. This is the behind the scenes stuff. This is the stuff that you probably don't like to look at, Gemini. And also the stuff like maybe it's time that we spend time on our own. What I think is going on here with Gemini, with this having the moon, your emotions, your safe place, I think you're leaning on that a bit too heavy. And maybe that's where you're getting comfort. And being able to detach from things that need to be done and maybe spending time procrastinating, getting stuck in the head or wanting to spend more time on your own. Yeah, because then it's comfortable, it's predictable, it's stable, you know how things go. But over in the 6th house where the sun is sitting, which is your daily work, your routines, your habits, your health, your pets, they're like, look at us. Yeah, there's stuff here that could be really moving the needle if you see it and you see what's true and see that this could be the thing that brings what you need. For some reason, you're stuck in here, which is the escaping part, which is the 12th house where you're like, I can detach from all of this and just float here because it's comfortable, it's stable, it's predictable. I know exactly, it's logical. Some things out here, I can't see the clear things that are going on. But in here, where it's just me, I can see everything. And the thing is, that procrastination from the things that need to be done or the things that are looking for your attention, Gemini, that procrastination is just escapism. It's just avoidance. What you need to look at these things and you need to see, right, okay, is it a health thing that you're like, I really am scared and I don't know how to deal with it? But the longer you sit with it, it could potentially be getting worse, Gemini. Is it a pet that you know needs to go to get treatment or get something, but you're like, I'm just scared that it's bad news and I don't want to deal with that emotionally? Or is it something more like work? Is there a job at work that needs to be done? Or even if you've got your own business, maybe it's that you need to start becoming more consistent with your content or something like that. And then you're like, oh, it's easier if I just don't do it. Or it's easier, or maybe you get so overwhelmed or overthink everything you're about to say that you just think, do you know what? It's easier just to sit in here and just float, dream, daydream. Can sometimes be the dynamic I think that's at call here. The 9th house has been activated with Pluto. And I think that there is a perspective shift or there's a belief, a limiting belief that is maybe that is creating tension here. Or maybe it's your vision or something that you're wanting. It does make me think there's something maybe around publishing as well, that because the 9th house is publishing, that could be stopping you. Maybe you're not publishing just now. And that's where you need to actually look at, right? If I done this, then I'm going to grow my YouTube channel or I'm going to grow my Instagram, I'm going to get customers or whatever. That could be a thing here with that 9th house. It's like if you don't claim your power here, which Pluto is asking you to do, and I think it's because of fear. I think there's fear maybe down to like a limiting belief that you've got. Maybe you don't think you're good enough. Maybe you don't think there could be self-worth things going on as well because that 12th house is activated here. Maybe you're like, am I the person to actually do this? But Gemini, you're in the position that Sun is asking you to look at these things here. And if that is, that maybe it's time for a career change, or maybe that is, it's time to go out in the world yourself and do things yourself, rather than relying on a boss. Yeah? Or relying on a career. Maybe it's you that makes the career. And that's the scary thing for you. But I think there's that. You need to, like I said at the start of this video, get a little bit uncomfortable and get comfortable with being that little bit uncomfortable. Yeah? I think that's really going to help here. Instead of detaching, instead of going back to that comfort zone and floating away and getting into the head and looking at all the nice things, or just sitting here and getting so overwhelmed in your head that you're stuck. Yeah? It comes from actually taking the action and turning these thoughts and ideas into something. Gemini, that is your full moon in Taurus reading. Let me know what you've got going on down in the comments. I would love to hear, love to see what you've got on. I'm an astrologer, so that sort of stuff I geek out on anyway. So it'd be lovely to know. Until the next video, have a good week. Cancer, Sun, Moon and Rising. For you, we are moving into your 11th house, and this is the house to do with your friends, your networks, your groups, your goals, your aspirations, that sort of a thing. And the Sun is going to be sitting in your 5th house, which is all to do with your creativity, your passions, the things you find pleasure in. With this, I get the kind of feeling that there's sort of a blending into the crowd, kind of that you're letting others take the lead. Well, you just got to make sure that everybody's okay, but they're all taking the lead here. You're not actually taking up the space in that group. You're just sort of a blending into the side. And this could be versus taking up that space. Like I said, taking up the space and saying the things that you actually making your voice heard in that group and in that place. And that's the 5th house is all about self-expression as well. As much as it's pleasure and as much as creativity, it's about how you express yourself. Because when you express yourself fully in that, you're more comfortable, it is more enjoyable. I think once you start to take up that space and you start to show people who Cancer is behind everything under that shell, and you're a little bit more vulnerable, and you can still do all the nurturing to see how great you are anyway. But I think when you've got that balance where you're showing up fully and not blending in and taking a role that is actual space in that group, that is when you show people what you're really made of. Now, you might be thinking that if I just make sure that everybody's good, then it'll keep me safe. Because that's what the moon wants to do. It wants to keep you safe. So if you blend in, don't make much of a deal. Just keep under the surface. Make sure that everybody else is good. Then it keeps you safe. And I think that could be really something that you're feeling this thing. But you've got to remember, you've got Jupiter in your 1st house until next year. With that, that's all about growth, all about expansion. Make sure that he is expanding the good things, yeah? Make sure that he's expanding that emotional growth that he wants while he's in Cancer. And that could mean that you need to feel safer taking that space and being able to make your group feel at home, but you're still taking that space that is yours to claim. I think as well, with the 8th house being highlighted here with Pluto and Aquarius, there could be something that you're feeling that might be making you box yourself in a little bit, or you maybe will be detaching. Like, I think that's what's going on here. You're detaching the emotions, like your emotions from everything, to make sure that everybody's okay. And it means that you don't need to take that role. Yeah. But the Pluto in that is that's where the tension's coming from, because there's something that you need to take up that space. You need to see it. And it doesn't mean that it's in a friend group, or it doesn't mean that it could be that you need to actually start putting the effort into claiming your space so you can achieve your goals. And that's where that tension is, because you're like, okay, well, if I'm going to do this, I need to be more vulnerable. I need to express myself fully. I need to say the things that need to be said around this time. I need to feel safe in the spotlight. And I think it could be creating that little bit of attention for you. And again, with the 5th house, there could be stuff going on with kids here. They're telling you to look at your kids. Maybe around this time, the Sun could be asking you to look at a relationship that maybe your friends are, like, there's that opposition between your friends saying one thing and a relationship saying the other. And it's creating that little bit. But Pluto here is saying you need to face these wounds that are making you just dim the light. Yeah? It's time to turn that light back on, Cancer. Cancer, this is your full moon and Taurus reading. If you want to support the channel, then I'll leave a link down in the comments where you can buy me a coffee, or if you just want to like the video or do something like that, that's awesome too. But have an awesome week, and I will see you in the next video, where we're actually going to be looking at Jupiter retrograde in your sign. So if that sounds good, maybe consider subscribing. Leo, Sun, Moon and Rising. For you, we are moving into your 10th house with this full moon in Taurus. And the 10th house is all about your career, your public recognition. It's your outward visibility. Yeah, it's people seeing you. And I think it's typical of Leo. That's what everybody says in the main character. They like the spotlight. And having that in your 10th house, where you're comfortable, where things are a little bit more nice, pleasurable and stable when you're in the spotlight. That's how people like you in the spotlight. Yeah, it's a good place for Leo to be, is there. Now, the thing is, with that, the Sun making an opposition, who's in Scorpio, that brings in your 4th house. And there's this push and pull. Now, the 4th house is your home, your physical home, your family dynamics, but one thing it is as well is under the hood, behind closed doors, that emotional security. And with this transit, I really get the feeling that there's a way that you show up to everybody else the outside world, and it's different from the way that you show up when you're behind closed doors. And I feel like it's about bringing that balance to make sure it's authentic the whole way through. Yeah. Now, what that means is that means that maybe there's something that you need to work with on an emotional level to make sure that you're showing up authentically and you're showing up all that stuff that you maybe need to deal with around this time. Remember, the sun is there, so it's highlighting what needs to change, Leo. And I do get this feeling, it's kind of like, okay, that's my spotlight sort of a action, and this is my behind the scenes action. Now, Pluto is highlighting that 7th house as well. There could be a fear, there could be something where you're letting your power dissolve in relationships. And it could be a relationship pointing this dynamic out. Like, why are you like that out there and you're totally different here? There could be that dynamic. Or it could be a relationship that you've maybe been getting validation from that's making this look good, but there's that imbalance, there's that push and pull. There's just relationships here. There could be something, a fear around relationships that you've got. Maybe you've been hurt in the past and you're maybe got your walls a little too high in relationships, which means that when you're out there in the public facing role, being visible and all that stuff, Leo, showing up and everybody likes you, and then you've got this person that you maybe want to go a little bit further, but there's that fear stopping things wanting to move. So I think for you, Leo, it's about looking out how that outward projection is. Yeah. What is the comfort? What is the stability? And how can you transform that inner security? There is a transformation. There is some sort of a truth or secrets you could be seeing secrets that you've maybe kept to yourself, could be around this person. With Mercury retrograde and stuff like that, people might come back into your life. So it is about, and it's not about bringing them back and with open arms and this is going to work out again, Leo. But it is about, okay, what can we learn here? How can we strengthen that emotional security and be able to bring behind closed doors, bring it out a little so that we've got authentic expression. There could also be that as well with it could be work-life balance, like you're comfortable when you're out in the spotlight at work, at your career, when you're getting the recognition, but when you have to go home to yourself or home to your family or that, you'd maybe feel a little bit like things are that you don't know the full picture. Maybe you've been putting too much time at work and you don't really know what's going on at home. And it's maybe now time that you can work on your work-life balance there. Yeah. But I do think there's something, and I think it's an emotional level thing for you, Leo. I just get that feeling, especially with that house of relationships being highlighted as well. I think there could be something there. And this could be a time, Leo, where you just need to face whatever this relationship is. And it's not, like I said, it's not, you have to spark up connection again with this. It's about learning the fears and all that stuff that you maybe have felt in relationships from the past. Now, Pluto is moving forward. So I think this is a fear that's been caused because of a relationship that's now in your life. Yeah. It's because Pluto is moving forward. But Mercury is retrograde. So it could bring things from the past. It could even just be looking at a perspective you used to have in the past, or a mindset you used to have in the past that is affecting your relationships. But it's definitely something in relationships. But I do think it's about getting that authentic expression from inward all the way outward. I think that's where you should be working on during this time, Leo. Leo, thank you so much for joining me for your full moon and Taurus reading, and let me know what you've got going on in the comments. I'm an astrologer, so I do like to geek out and all of that stuff, so that I can see how the planets are affecting other people. So let me know down in the comments how you're going, and I will see you in the next video. Virgo, sun, moon and rising for you, we are going into the 9th house with this full moon. The 9th house is all about that higher belief, that sort of perspective, the horizons, your worldview, all your beliefs, your faith and all that stuff. Now, the sun is going to be sitting in your 3rd house, which is kind of that lower level sort of education. It's like the stuff you know, the sort of tangible stuff that you can pinpoint, that's this, and that's that. Yeah, it's the little things like the first level of knowledge, if you like, and then the 9th house is like the bigger thing where the beliefs start to come. And I think when you've got this push and pull dynamic here, it's kind of like, okay, are you maybe safe and feeling comfortable with that faith? That it kind of hides things. It kind of like this is like your comfort blanket. Like, that could be a religious belief. It could be a spiritual belief. There could be a belief there that you just cling on to that is stopping you, like, you're kind of hiding underneath it. Yeah? If you're hiding under this, then you don't need to show up 100% like you, Virgo. You can find comfort in that bigger picture. And that's kind of the 9th house. Now, the sun in the 3rd house, that's showing you that there's stuff here that you've got knowledge here that you need to be putting out into the world. There's knowledge here that you could be sharing, that you could turn into your own wisdom, where you're not just borrowing the wisdom of everybody else. Yeah, where you're actually and hiding under beliefs of other people that you've now adopted. You could have your own wisdom and your own knowledge. And there might be a mindset shift that you have to have here as well. There could also be things with siblings. There could also be things with like your closer circle, your local network. They may be telling you, you should be doing this. Like, what are you doing with that? All this stuff up here? Like, you're missing out on something here, and it could be creating that push and pull. Now, for you, Pluto is in your 6th house of daily work and routines. I do think this is something around work or around the stuff that you do for work. Again, the 10th house is kind of like what you're known for, your personal brand, if you like. But the 6th house is like the work you do on a day-to-day basis, the daily work, the labor, if you like, of everything. So I think when that's getting a mention here, there's some things that you're not doing, and maybe the lower level stuff. And that's creating tension between the sun and the 6th house and Pluto in the 6th house. And then there's tension between the 9th, where the moon is, because you're holding on to that comfort and stability, where Pluto's like, break it down, Virgo. It's time for you to now take up space. It's time for you to use this knowledge and turn it into wisdom. It might be a little bit uncomfortable because you can't hide under the beliefs that are safe. Yeah? You need to take your own stuff and make something of that. I think the people that see you on the outer world, where you are maybe publishing, you're maybe putting stuff out there, but it's the safe stuff, the stuff that other people expect somebody who do what you do to talk about. Yeah? You're not really claiming your space here. But because you've got that comfort, it gives you that faith. But the change that you need to see is that there's stuff here that you've got that needs to come as well, where you need to start talking about that stuff and integrate it fully. Virgo, that is your full moon and Taurus reading. If you've enjoyed this video, then please let me know what you've got going on down in the comments. I'm an astrologer, so I love to geek out on this stuff. But until the next video, I'll see you then. Libra, sun, moon, and rising for you. We are moving into your 8th house. The moon is sitting in the house where you tend to keep things hidden. It's also the stuff you share with other people, your resources, money, finances, intimacy, power, control dynamics are in here too. Trauma, wounds, all the stuff you hide, they tend to be hidden in here. And when the moon is there, you're finding comfort. And I think this could be finding comfort in other people. That's the sort of message I'm getting from this. You're maybe taking the back seat in a relationship, and it doesn't necessarily mean love. It could be any kind of relationship where you're maybe just taking that back seat. Yeah, you're like, oh, well, if I don't rock the boat, they'll keep on supporting things and they'll build and they'll do all that stuff, and I can just keep the peace in here and make sure everything's harmonious. I'll make sure the house is clean. I'll do all that stuff and everything's good. I get that sort of a vibe here with this one. The 2nd house is being activated as well with the sun in Scorpio, which is creating a push and pull dynamic. I think there's something between the 2nd and the 8th house where you're maybe leaning on other people, but there's something that you've got your heart on, or there's something you're desiring to do where you need to be like, okay, yeah, I like all this stuff and I like this, but it's time for me to do this. This is what I really want. And this could be not necessarily a romantic relationship. It could be a work relationship where you've got a job, you've got a career, you've got a boss, and it's safe and it's secure and they're paying for everything, give you your wages and all that stuff. And that's comfortable. It's stable. You know how that goes, Libra. But then on the other side, in the 2nd house, there's something here where you want to be doing something to earn money, or you want to be speaking about your values or bringing your things in, or maybe there's like you've been given too much to these people as well. That can sometimes show up in this dynamic. But there's something here that I think that your heart is set on, that you want to do, but it's scary. There's a fear, there's something there. Now, Pluto's in your 5th house as well. That's creativity. That's self-expression, Libra. That again, just gives me that sort of okay, there's something here you've got your heart set on. There's something that you're wanting to say, or there's something where you maybe want to take a leading role, or there's something you want to do it your way. There's just that, it's creating tension, and there's a fear, there's wounds, maybe you're like, if I do that, I could rock the boat. And I'm not comfortable doing that, Libra. We know, I'm a Libra rising, I know that. Yeah, we're not comfortable when we have to rock the boat. Avoid that at all costs, because that's not peaceful. But sometimes we get more peace, we get more respect from other people when we do. Yeah? And it's not about rocking it and being horrible and being all that stuff. It's about saying, okay, I love that. I really respect everything you've done for me, but I need to do this. Yeah? My heart is set on this. I really want to bring this to life. And I think when you take that stance here, Libra, that's what the moon is asking you to do during this time. And just think, you're a Libra. Yeah, you're ruled by Venus. You've got that allure. You've got that beauty, that style, that magnetism, that charm. Use that in the spotlight. Yeah? Let people see you. Don't hide under other people. It's safe, it's secure, it's all this stuff. Sometimes you need to just branch out a little bit, Libra. Yeah? Do what's true to your heart. That's what Scorpio wants. It wants something that's real. Libra, that is your full moon and Taurus reading. If you've enjoyed this and you want to support the channel, then I'll leave a link in the description where you can come buy me a coffee, or you can hit the like button or do something like that. But I will see you next week in the next video. Have a great week. Scorpio, sun, moon and rising. This is kind of an important full moon for you because the sun is in your sign, which is lighting up you. Yeah? You need to have an honest look at yourself here and see what's going on. You've got the moon in your 7th house of relationships, which is your close relationships, your one-to-one relationships. And that's where you're leaning on for comfort and security and predictability. And to do that, to keep that predictability and that comfort and all that stuff the way you like it, Scorpio, sometimes that means that there can be that little bit of a control dynamic going on there. Or you could be like, if I just obsess over this relationship to make sure it's perfect, then it keeps me safe. So I try and fix things, and I don't let them know about me, because God, if they know things about me, then they could expose me. Yeah? We don't want them to do that. But Scorpio, here's the thing. When you are that little bit more vulnerable and you release the grip from your relationships and you're not obsessing over them and you've got your other stuff, whatever happens with that relationship, you're good, because you've got all the other stuff going on. You're like, oh, well, that's my relationship, but I've got this stuff. I've got this stuff that I do, and I've got that. And the sun is asking you to look at what you really want here. Look at what you really desire here. Yeah? And if you're single and you're like, this doesn't apply to me, it could be, and it doesn't always mean a love relationship. It could be that job where you've got the boss who's like, you see on a one-to-one basis, and you're like, okay, if I just keep him happy and I do all the things, I obsess over keeping this one person happy, then it keeps things comfortable and safe. Yeah, but it could be other things. It's not just a love relationship, a business relationship. It could be all of these things, Scorpio. And I know it feels counterproductive, yeah, but when you do release that grip and you're not trying to keep everything protected and all that stuff, that has been, and you are a little bit vulnerable here with that relationship, that's when true trust comes. That's when intimacy strengthens. That's when power, like there's equal power, and you grow together. And it does mean that you've not got that sort of an attachment here. Yeah? You're not stuck to them. Like, you can have that. You've got you, and there's that balance, and you know that, okay, they're not going to expose me. I've been a little bit vulnerable, but we're working on this together. Yeah. And there might be some things that you have to deal with here, Scorpio. You've got Pluto in your 4th house. I think there's a family conditioning thing here. Maybe it's even something with the family, is telling you to look at your family relationship. Is there too much control in the house? Yeah. But Pluto's here, and he's saying you need to break something down to rebuild it stronger at home. And it could be, it's not just the physical home, could be, but it's not always that. It could be the stuff, your heart, your home, under there. Yeah? There's something that you know you want. You want this. You want to be able to be calm, cool, collected, and not the one that's been, they're away out tonight and doing all that stuff, or that job or whatever, I need to make sure he's all good. You need to make sure you're good, Scorpio, as well. Because then you get that balance. You've not got that control and all that stuff. And people, you build stronger trust that way. Yeah? And it's an equal give and take at that point as well. I think home for you is really where the growth is going to come from here. And it could be looking at the relationships in the home as well, making sure that you are not getting stuck in that. I need to make sure everything's good. I need to make sure they don't expose me. I need to do all this. You need to just go back to you, Scorpio. Scorpio, that's your full moon and Taurus reading. If you've enjoyed this video, then let me know what you've got going on down in the comments. I'm an astrologer, so I love to geek out and all that stuff. But until the next video, have a lovely day. Have a lovely week. Sagittarius, sun, moon and rising for you. We are moving into your 6th house with this full moon, and the sun is going to be illuminating that 12th house. What does that mean for you? Well, the 6th house is that area. It's your daily health, your daily routines, your health, your work, your pets even, and the stuff you sort of do on a daily basis, the boring stuff, the run-of-the-mill sort of stuff. Now, when that's where you feel safe. That's where you're kind of going. You're like, if I've got all my wee things that I do, stop by rushing in and doing loads. I think with you having Taurus here, it's been slow, steady, and making sure that you're keeping up with all of these stuff. The only problem is when the 12th house is being highlighted, there's either maybe something like a pattern, some sort of self-sabotage, maybe there's something under the hood. Maybe you need to take more time to yourself, maybe using rest as productivity. Maybe you're going too fast in this area, and it's like, okay, you're missing things because you're not actually processing stuff and being able to look back at stuff and this. And it can also highlight that, okay, if you continue on this, if you keep on sticking to what you know and what's comfortable and what's safe, you could be on the risk of burnout here. I think another thing to look at with this dynamic is, are you using the stuff in the 6th house as a distraction to stop you having to dealing with stuff in the 12th house where you have to maybe be alone? And you have to get a little bit uncomfortable with looking in at, okay, what actually is going on here? I feel a bit crap. I feel a bit low. There's something just not quite right with me. Or you've maybe got grief to deal with, or there's maybe something that's a self-sabotage problem, which is you're avoiding dealing with that more. And that's why you're using your work, your routines, your rituals, and that sort of stuff to save you having to deal with that stuff. Yeah, but the sun in this full moon is pointing out that area. It's like, okay, Sagittarius, it's time to be alone. It's time to look at the shadow. It's time to look under the hood and do all that sort of stuff. Now, your 3rd house is also being highlighted here with Pluto. Pluto is in your 3rd house, and what that's saying to me is that there's communication, there's words, there's maybe a mindset that you need to change here, or you know that you need to adopt and you're just sort of avoiding it. Maybe that's the thing. You're like, well, if, for example, if you're a content creator or a coach or something along the lines that puts content out, then you might be thinking to yourself, okay, well, I need to talk about these things, but it's really not, it's going to trigger some of your audience or something along them lines. There's just something that's a little bit difficult for you to talk about maybe. And that's like, you need to do the inner work on that. It sounds like the inner work needs to be done, but that's uncomfortable. So we stick to what we know. We stick to what is safe. We stick to what is comfortable. And that's the moon in Taurus. The moon in Taurus is staying there where I can do all my wee work. I can have my coffee. I can have all the nice things round about me, and I can just crack on. Yeah. I can sit and learn about everything and deepen my knowledge and create wisdom. And that's really going to help me move the needle. Instead of having to do the inner work and learn, what is this that we're not saying? What is this that we need to rebuild? Yeah, there's something in your communication, your words, the way you speak, Sagittarius, that's wanting to be broken down. And it might mean that you have to be that little bit more rebellious. It might mean that you can't do stuff the way that you've seen everybody else do it. And I think that that's where the biggest problem for you is, because you're like, okay, if I do this, it's going to be different. And I think that that's maybe the thing here. Yeah, it could be a little bit more uncomfortable for you to talk about. Yeah, and maybe it's a little bit letting people being a little bit more vulnerable. There could be things as well from siblings here, that maybe your siblings are the ones that are actually telling you, you need to chill out. Yeah, you're going to burn out because you're doing far too much here. You've not processed this. Sagittarius, this is your full moon in Taurus reading. Thank you so much for stopping by. If you've enjoyed this video, please give it a like, and I will see you in next week's video, where we're talking about Jupiter retrograde, which is the ruler of Sagittarius. So it's going to have an impact on you, Sagittarius. So maybe subscribe if you're not subscribed, and I will see you in that video. Capricorn, Sun, Moon, and Rising for you. We are coming into your 5th house with this Moon in Taurus, and the Sun is illuminating your 11th house, and we have Pluto doing some things in your 2nd house. Now, when you have this dynamic for the full moon, where you're comfortable in yourself, yeah, the way you express yourself, you're comfortable when things are pleasurable, when things are passionate, when you can have that passion, when things feel good. It could also be highlighting, like, you maybe feel comfortable when you've got that connection with somebody, like a romantic connection. Like, you're able to express yourself more fully there. That's where it's comfortable, it's safe to express yourself more fully. However, there's something with your friends, your goals, your aspirations, the groups you stand for, the causes you stand for, that are needing attention. There's the Sun's highlighting these. And is that maybe that you're maybe not letting them see the full you? Because that would mean that you have to get a little bit more vulnerable. That would mean that you have to be a little bit more real. Whereas that's okay when it's you and your kids and your family and all that sort of stuff, Capricorn, or the people that have got that emotional bond, that close bond, that have become your ride or dies. They can see the real you. But the more friends, the wider community and that sort of a thing, they're just getting the polished Capricorn that's able to, like, filter it, yeah? You want to be seen as the person who maybe has had a meltdown at 3 a.m, because then that makes you look like you've not got your shit together, Capricorn. Whereas I think there's something there, like, when you are able to show that self, when you're able to express yourself fully in the spotlight. I'm not saying you have to go and, like, air your dirty laundry or anything like that. I don't think it's that sort of a thing. I think there's something maybe like around with friends, or around with maybe your social networks, that sort of a thing, where you could just maybe be bringing more of that self-expression, where you can maybe let the wall come down a little bit, Capricorn, in these areas, and be a little bit more vulnerable. The thing is, Capricorn, the more you block this area out and show up one way for one and one way for another, that kind of it doesn't make you relatable. If you look like the person who's always got their shit together, Capricorn, and you don't have the times where you're like, I'm having a bad day, it's not great, I've forgot to do my hair, or whatever it is that makes you feel like that polished Capricorn that you maybe just putting on for your friends or your groups or the community at the wider level, then it makes you float above, where you're not as relatable or approachable at that point. And I think that's maybe where, if you lean into that, lean a lower in that, and lean at bringing more of that authentic self-expression into your groups, into your things that you're doing. And I think as well, when it comes to goals and aspirations here, there's a goal and an aspiration. It's calling for your creativity. Yeah, it's calling for that creativity. That's where the 5th house is as well. It's your creative center. And I think the thing is, it's easy when you've got like a one-to-one romantic relationship, or your kids or your family or whatever, and they're giving you some validation that everything's good, you look great, you've got this, and it feels good. The wider community, friends, they might not do that. Now, there is stuff going on in your 2nd house, again, which is your values, the way you earn money on a day-to-day basis, your material possessions, your self-worth. Do you know that it is the thing here, Capricorn, that you know that if you show up this way, there's some self-worth that you maybe just, I need to show up like this polished way, because if I don't, I'm not good enough. They don't see my value. Whereas the closer people, they see your value. They'll give you that. And that's why it's comfortable and it's safe and it's secure to, like, express more quietly on your own and being like that. But when you're out in the wider sort of realms, you're like, it just doesn't feel safe. I don't feel good enough. I'm not doing enough if I'm out there. If I'm just being myself, like, I need to put this act on or something. That's the kind of vibe I get from that. With the self, there could be some stuff going on with self-worth. There could be stuff like with your finances. And I think if you are looking for more success around this thing, Capricorn, then leaning into that wider network. But I think bringing in more of the authenticity, the more Capricorn behind closed doors. Because Capricorn can be quite goofy at times. Yeah, they've got a sense of humor, but they only tend to let it out with the people that are the closest to them, where there's that emotional bonding. I think it's letting your imagination run wild here as well, even if it means that they'll be like, who the hell is this crazy person? Like, that's okay. They don't need to understand. Like, but I think that'll mean you bring out that more realness. And I think that's what the world is, or that's what this full moon is asking for around this time, Capricorn. Capricorn, this is your full moon and Taurus reading. Let me know what you've got going on down in the comments. Like, I love to hear all your stories, and I love to geek out on this stuff because I'm an astrologer, so it helps me see what's actually going on with these transits as well and being able to put pieces together. So I really liked hearing your stories in the comments. But yeah, I will see you in the next video. Have an awesome week. Aquarius, Sun, Moon and Rising. For you, we are coming into your 4th house with this full moon, and the Sun is highlighting your 10th house. With this dynamic going on where between the Sun and the Moon, your 4th house is like where you feel comfortable, you're safe. Yeah, that's the Moon. That's your emotions, where you feel safe. And I think with that feeling comfortable, this is highlighting to me, or saying to me, there could be detachment going on from the outside. Which we know that Aquarius, you can be quite guilty of doing that, yeah? Like where you can detach from the outside world and be in your own little bubble and stuff like that, and not be as visible, shut yourself away, and being private about things. Now, to a degree, remember a push and pull is an opposition, so between that, you need to find the balance. It's not about going, oh well, I'll just jump in front of the camera every day and let everybody in, air my dirty laundry, and that's it. It's not about saying that, yeah, but it's about finding this balance. The person that you are very, very comfortable with and that you're secure with at home, whether that be at home as in just being in yourself, or at your physical home with your family and all that stuff. Like, I think that that's a comfort zone. And Aquarius, you're going into that comfort zone. It's time for you to let the world see that unique Aquarius brain that you've got in there, Aquarius, and hear all your stuff. Because that's really going to get you known for that sort of a stuff. And it could be from something from the past, or a family dynamic where they were like, oh, he's the weird one. He's the one that he's different. Yeah, or she's different. There's that misunderstoodness. Yeah, because Aquarius, you are quite unique. Yeah, but that's your superpower. And that's what the world is longing for. And Scorpio wants the realness. It wants the truth, the raw truth, the authentic truth. And with the Sun highlighting your 10th house, which is your visibility, your career, your public recognition, there could be stuff at work if you've got a job, or it could be letting more of your uniqueness come through. Like, don't just go to the norm, like where it's comfortable and it's safe, and shut everybody out and detach emotionally, because that's easier. It's about, okay, I am me, I am who I am, and the world can see that. Yeah? And not everybody's going to get it. Some people will, and they're your people, and that's good. But I think that maybe from childhood or whatever, there's some stuff there that have made you see that it's just easier to detach. It's easier, it's safer when you detach. And that's where you're maybe your default setting is. And that's where you maybe need to be like, okay, the world's safe. I can be seen. I can be visible. And yeah, not everybody's going to like me. Not everybody's going to like my take on things, even though I've spent hours researching these things. They might not like it, but I know that my people, the people that I want to come with me, are gonna, and they're going to get behind me. I think as well, with Pluto being in your 1st house, you're going through a massive amount of change right now. And Pluto's right at the start of this transit. So it is, now Pluto is a generational planet. Yeah, it's not one of these ones that's like Mars, where it's dead noticeable and dead easy to spot. Yeah, Pluto's a little bit more subtle because everything moves so slowly. He's doing things over a generation here. Things are going to break down slowly. The way that you've done things in the past, Aquarius, is going to break down, so you can face things again, so you can build stronger. Scorpio, remember we said Pluto is the modern ruler of Scorpio. Scorpio wants that transformation, and he wants it with your visibility, your career, your public recognition. He wants you to step into that. And that does come from not detaching emotionally here and being that little bit vulnerable. If you're so detached from everybody, It does, it makes you less approachable, it makes you less relatable, it makes you all this stuff. And I think if there's any of that sort of a maybe guru vibes going on here, Aquarius, then that could be the thing. Like, oh, it's safe to be the guru, but because I don't have to put any emotion behind it. But then when I'm at home, there's a totally different person where I have got emotion, or maybe you just don't, you're just detaching emotionally completely because it's comfortable and it's safe. But I think there's that, I think detachment's a thing here for you to look at, and there's definitely something about being visible. With Aquarius, with your first house being activated as well, there's something, a shift, a change, or something that needs to break down within you, which is maybe creating this tension in the first place. You maybe are like, oh, well, I am this person, but in my career, that means I have to be a little bit more vulnerable. And my public recognition, my visibility strategy, my content strategy, and all these things, I have to be a little bit more vulnerable. Which is maybe making you detach and come back home and shutting yourself in and all that stuff, because that's scary. But in this case, I would say, Aquarius, that the sun is asking you to express yourself fully. Let the world see you. Aquarius, this is your full moon in Taurus video. I hope you've enjoyed it. If I've helped you in any way, shape or form with my content, you can buy me a coffee if you want to support the channel, or you can subscribe and see next week. I've got a video coming out about Jupiter retrograde. That may be something that you're interested in, so come and watch that video. But if not, have an awesome week, Aquarius, and I will see you in the next one. Pisces, sun, moon and rising for you. We are coming into your third house and with the moon, and the ninth house has been activated with the sun. When I see this, I think this is a very, very, like, there's comfort and stability in the education that you already know. Like, this is what I learned. This is how things have gone, and I think we just need to stay like this because that keeps everything safe and comfortable, and I know how to work and navigate all this. Which is maybe stopping you develop your wisdom. Yeah? Oh, well, I can't change things. Yeah? If I go out there and change things, then that's scary because I need to learn how everything works out there. And I think that that's maybe like the sun is asking you, like, there's wisdom, there's knowledge, or there's something that you need to experience here for you to be able to do that. I think there's that, you know what needs to be done. Yeah, but there's maybe that closed-minded stuff where it's time to open your horizons here and see the bigger picture, Pisces. I think when the third house is active, it's maybe a little bit more closed. You know, you stick to what you know kind of vibes with that house. The ninth house is the big picture. So that you go and explore and get different perspectives and form your beliefs here. And it could be, and now with the small sort of like the third house stuff, that's maybe creating limiting beliefs that need your attention because they're instead of them leading to growth, your beliefs in that leading to growth and leading to the manifestations and all of these things that you want, Pisces, there's maybe that bit that's just holding you back because you've got that limiting belief. There's that belief that you need to embody that you're not quite done it yet. I think here, your 12th house has been mentioned with Pluto as well. With the 12th house being activated, that's about going in. That's about taking yourself out and being alone and doing the inner work, the work behind the scenes here, and making sure that you're dealing with the things like maybe there's self-sabotage going on here between these two houses. There could be something, the ninth and the third house is all about publishing as well. The third house is more that low-level sort of tutorial-based things, if you like. The ninth house is more of your wisdom. Are you leaning on the tutorials and stuff like that because it's safe? Yeah? You just need to say what you know and it makes you look smart. Whereas the ninth house is like, okay, this means I have to create my own frameworks and my own stuff and like publish my own wisdom, which is unsafe. I don't know how predictable that's going to be, but that makes you real. That makes it so that nobody else can copy what you're doing, Pisces, because you're yourself at this point. You're using your own stuff. Like I said, the beliefs thing here does come in as well. The third house is more mindset. The ninth house is more your bigger picture beliefs and things that who you want to become and stuff like that, your spiritual beliefs, your religious beliefs, all these sort of things, the things that bring you faith. The third house is the more low-level stuff. But that's the comfortable stuff, yeah? But that is telling you just now, you need to go to the uncomfortable, to the unknown. You might have to go back to school. You might have to learn some things. You might have to travel. You might have to experience something around this time to get the full picture. And I think with the 12th house being activated, it's doing it alone. Yeah, it's doing it, being able to be on your own and finding that connection to something that's greater than already is. that interconnectedness, which Pisces love. They love all that stuff as well. But I think that's where it's been asking you. Like, go and do the inner work. Work on that shadow. Work on the bits behind the scenes, the subconscious patterns, Pisces. And I think that's uncomfortable because it's your 12th house and it's squaring these two, squaring your moon and your earth. But there's words that you say, I think, because you say because it's safe and it's comfortable and it's predictable. I think as well with this, there could also be a little bit of getting stuck in your head going on here. So that's just something to be with that 3rd house. That's going into your head. Yeah, that's going in the 9th house is above, all beliefs and all that stuff. The higher mind. That's the low level mind. And I get a feeling with this transit, there could be a little bit of getting stuck in your head with this full moon. Pisces, that is your full moon and Taurus reading. I hope you've enjoyed this video. If you have and you want to support the channel or you've got anything from this, then please, I'll leave a link to buy me a coffee. But if you want to subscribe as well, next week I've got a video coming out about Jupiter retrograde. And Jupiter is your traditional ruler. So it's going to have an impact on you more than some of the other signs. So make sure you're subscribed so you can come and see that video.